Dear boys, I have come to you tonight with another grammatical item, that is noun clause complement to the verb. In my previous class, I discussed with you complement to the preposition. And today's topic of discussion is complement to the verb. Noun clause complement to the verb. And I want to remind you that a clause that acts as a noun is called a noun clause. So the function of a noun and the noun clause is the same. However, I am going to discuss with you noun clause as the subordinate clause that acts as the complement to the verb. It means it completes the meaning of the verb. And I want to say you emphatically that the principal clause will end with a be verb, and the meaning of the be verb will be completed by the clause that is called noun clause, and it is called the complement to the verb. For example, let us take the first example. Please write down as you do usually in my class. Please write down. Number 1. The proverb is that an empty vessel sounds much. The proverb is that an empty vessel sounds much. And now let us analyze the sentence. Number 1. The proverb is principal clause. Number 2. That an empty vessel sounds much. Subordinate noun clause, and it is the complement to the verb is in clause number 1. Clear? Now let us take another example. Number 2. The fact was that he rescued the drowning man. The fact was that he rescued the drowning man. Now analyze the sentence. The fact was principal clause. Number 2, that he rescued the drowning man. Complement to the verb was in clause number 1. Complement to the verb was in clause number 1. Number 3. Let us take another example. The proposal was that, please write down the sentences so that you may construct this type of sentences of your own. The proposal was that a huge amount of money must be invested to the agricultural sector. The proposal was that a huge amount of money must be invested to the agricultural sector. Please write down. Number 1, the proposal was principal clause. The proposal was principal clause. Number 2, a huge amount of money must be invested to the agricultural sector. Subordinate noun clause. And complement to the verb was in clause number 1. That is, the meaning of was of the principal clause is being completed by the noun clause. Okay? Let us take another example. Please write down. It is what I want. It is what I want. So, number 1, it is principal clause. Number 2, what I want, subordinate noun clause. And complement to the verb, it is. So, the meaning of is being completed by the clause, that is noun clause, what I want. Okay? You may take another example. I am dictating. Please write down. My problem is, please write down, my problem is when you will get up in the morning. My problem is when you will get up in the morning. Now analyze the sentence. Number 1, my problem is principal clause. Number 2, when you will get up in the morning, subordinate noun clause. And complement to the verb is in clause number 1. That is, the meaning of is of the principal clause is being completed by the subordinate clause, that is called noun clause. Okay? Now let us conclude that a noun clause that acts as the complement to the verb, a clause that acts as the complement to the verb is automatically called noun clause, because it is only noun that can complete the meaning of the verb. For example, he is a boy is the form of verb, and the form of the verb is complemented by boy. Then what is the part of speech of boy? It is noun. So when a clause acts, when a clause completes the meaning of the verb, is automatically called noun clause, and it is complement to the verb. And you should always keep it in mind or remember that the principal clause will end with verb, that is am, is, are, was, were, etc. And the meaning of the verb will be completed by a clause. And that clause may begin with why, what, that, etc. So, let us complete today's class, and I hope that you have understood noun clause, subordinate clause that acts as the complement to the verb of the principal clause. Good night, students. Good night.